What's up, guys, and welcome to the Underdog Talk Bodybuilding Edition. I'm your host, Jay Barnes, and there is just something about the underdog. And you see him to my left, or my right, your left, Vinny Galanti. What is up, sir? How are you doing today?
Well, I appreciate you having me on. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Just waiting to hear, just like everyone else, about getting invited to the Masters Olympia tomorrow.
Oh, man, I'm telling you, I'm pretty excited about the Masters Olympia. It seems like there's going to be a heck of a lineup.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't really know. I mean, I hear a lot of people talking on social media, and they're only talking about what if Phil enters, what if Jay Cutler enters, what if, and so on and so on. But they're forgetting that there's a lot of Masters guys that have been making headway, and we might not. What's the word I want? We might not impress everybody because we're not we're not the big dogs, but we're here and we're kicking.
Hey, that's right. And you guys are still in absolutely great shape, especially you yourself. How is it that you guys just continue to keep that drive and that motivation to push and just stay in that great shape that you've always been in?
Well, for me personally, my story is a little different than most guys. I had a very, very fine career on the national level. Turned pro after a long, long time trying. I was 41 years old, and you got to understand, like by that time, I was tired. I was done. I didn't want to live out of Tupperware anymore.
Right.
I won the overall at the Masters Nationals in 2008, and then 2009. That was the last piece of energy I had, and I took seventh in the New York Pro, and then after that it just fizzled down, went downhill because I was tired. I was burnt out, and I just didn't have it in me anymore, and I retired. And thought I'd never get back on stage. I was happy. I was content, but I got hurt in end of 2014. I tore my right rotator cuff, and I needed 9 anchors during surgery to repair it.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and then a year later, I tore the left one and needed 5 anchors to repair it. So almost probably a little over 2 years, 2.5 years, close to 3 years ish. I couldn't train, and I was getting depressed and getting out of shape, and I decided, let me see if I can get in shape via competing, because that was the only way I knew how to get in shape. So, make a long story short, it was a rocky road at first. I did the Masters Baltimore Pro in 2017, and I took dead last. And maybe I jumped the gun looking back. Maybe I shouldn't have competed because I didn't have the size yet. I didn't have enough time in the gym. And then I did it again in 2008, and repeated itself, and I took dead last again. It was embarrassing. It was embarrassing. I'm so grateful that the Masters Olympia didn't come back in 2019, because I'd never get picked after that. So then I just put the blinders on, figured out what I was doing wrong, figured out, at my age now, I have to train differently. Everyone says, oh, age is just a number. No, it's not. It's not just a number, especially if you've been beating your body up for as long as I have. I think my first contest, I was 16 years old. That's 40 years ago. I'm 56 years old now. So I just put it together, trained completely different, utilized a lot of warming up, utilized a lot of 5-rep pattern sets to get to a working set. And I've been fortunate that I've now won 8 age groups in 5 shows. So now the Masters Olympia is coming back, and I cross my fingers. Hope I get selected, but you never know. Who knows? You know?
Yeah, absolutely. And you absolutely embody the name of underdog, because underdogs just can't get put down. You know, they keep getting back up, and you have a
Yeah.
lot of fight left. And with a story like that, that says a lot about you being an underdog.
You know, it's funny you're saying that, because I try to be creative with my posing routines. And when I was coming back at the Masters Pittsburgh Pro in 2019, I was gonna like try to implement the old school, the cartoon underdog in my posing routine. And after I had it made, I was like, this is too corny. I can't do it. It's too goofy. Yeah.
Oh man, that'd been crazy to see. So when it comes to the Masters Olympia, or just Masters in general, what are your expectations for them to put it on this year? Do you think that it's going to be a good turnout, or do you think that the fans are really more into the new age bodybuilders and or things like that?
Well, you know, you hear a lot of talk. Everyone's talking about what if Kevin Leverone, what if Phil Heath, what if this and that, right? Jay Cutler. These guys, the promoter, this is my opinion, the promoters of the contest didn't pick the 10 divisions because they were expecting certain names to come back. They picked the 10 divisions because Masters in itself is a growing division of bodybuilding.
Absolutely.
Right? So it's growing now. When I was a kid, Masters was like kind of laughed at. There was maybe 4 or 5 guys in a show, and there was anywhere between 20 kids in the teen division, going all the way between lightweight, middleweight, light heavy, and heavyweight, and on the local level. And there were
Right.
very little Masters, and there were no Masters Pro shows except the few years they had the Masters Olympia. But other than that, there was not any Masters Pro shows on the IFBB Pro League circuit. Now it's picking up steam, it's picking up some momentum, and we have a lot of people who. I got a really good buddy of mine, Eric Berger, who competed back in the day, started a family, a career, and then fast forward 25 years later, picked up the posing trunks again and got on stage. So there's guys out there who had a dream 25 years ago, but life got in the way. And fortunately for me, I've always done this. This has been something that I've been able to obtain. I was fortunate back in the day to be with Universal Nutrition for 18 years. I've always approached it as a business. And a long time ago, I heard or read, I can't remember, Rich Gaspari saying, the people you meet on the way up are the people you meet on the way down. So I remember that. And I just remember, just be nice to everybody. You know, I'm sure I pissed somebody off along the way, but for the most part, I have not, and I have a good standing relationship with everybody in the sport. So the Masters guys are coming on strong. The women, from wellness all the way up to bikini, figure, these girls are training their asses off. I get to watch them as I'm pumping up. They're going on stage. And if you cut, even the men I'm talking about, so I'm not picking anybody, but you cut everybody's heads off, you don't know really what age group you're looking at with some of these women and men. So yeah, we're coming on strong. And no, I don't think big names will enter the Masters Olympia. I don't think Jake Wood and Alana Papa thought that would be the direction it was going in, with having 10 divisions. So you're going to have Rusty Jeffers. You're going to have me. You're going to have so many guys that are well-established veterans that are just itching to get on an Olympia stage. I never had the opportunity. I was not that good. I know, I was a really good amateur back in the 90s, and I went against some amazing competitors that have turned out to be pros and went on to compete and had a decent career. But I always, like I said, I treated it as a business, and I got on magazine covers. I traveled the world. I did everything that a professional can do, except I didn't have the IFBB right after my name until recently. And one of the funny things is that when I won the Masters Nationals to turn pro, I didn't want to take my pro card, because to me it was like a warm up, and I wanted to make a big, splash, get my name out there again, and then go to the Nationals in November. And that didn't happen that way. You set a course for yourself, and God laughs at you for your plans, right? So it's like my plan was to turn pro at the Nationals. I wanted the Nationals. But I turned pro at the Masters Nationals, and it just didn't sit well with me. I didn't want to be a Masters champion. And here I am now, 8 wins in the Masters, and hopefully tomorrow I get selected to have that privilege to step on stage at the Masters Olympia. So it's going to be
absolutely
pretty cool.
And you kind of like developed a passion for the Masters now, right? Because don't you have a podcast that for all the Masters people?
Yeah, I got Masters Muscle, and it's through Sups Talk Radio. So a buddy of mine, Sean, Sups Talk Radio is his podcast, and I have no idea how to do a podcast. And I just said to him, hey, could we link up? Let me run my podcast through yours. And he was like, hey, no brainer, let's do it. So we've been having some pretty good guests on, and we were in like 14 episodes now. So it's pretty cool. So I try to showcase the over 40 athlete on different topics, not just, we had Ann Sheehan on a few weeks ago, and she talked about becoming sober, and it opened up a lot of doors for other people to listen to because they're struggling. We just had Tom Terwilliger on last week, and he had a great story about his journey. So it's not like just, it is a lot of their past, how they became pros and how they trained, how they got to compete. But it also, it encompasses the whole story, because everyone's got, everybody who trains, we all have demons, right? We all go to the gym for a reason. We're battling something. We got something we want to kick its ass, and we do it better in the gym with some weights. So we all have stories, and it's a great platform for that.
Absolutely. And I really love the sport of bodybuilding. I fell in love with bodybuilding probably in 2011. I remember picking up my first muscle mag in high school. And then from there, it was still taboo to me. I was like, I don't know how I like these physiques. But the more I started to dig, and the more I started to learn, the more I started to pick up a weight and start putting muscle on in different areas, the more I started to love it. And then once I fell in love with it, that was a wrap. Got my Arnold Schwarzenegger's Encyclopedia of Bodybuilding. I started watching all the documentaries that were out at the time. All the Machiavelli motivation because that was coming up in my time. But knowing how I came up, you came up in a different era. What was it like coming up in that era?
Well, it was not much. Well, it was a lot different. I didn't know any better. So it was a different world. It was a different mindset. People thought differently. You were challenged in the gym. You were put on the spot a lot of times, where you were tested, not how much weight you could lift, but just, how hard you train. I was fortunate that I trained my first few years. I trained out of Billy's Bodybuilding gym in Bayonne, New Jersey. I would take the bus there every day. And I learned how to train out of the power rack from the power lifters. I learned how to train isolation movements from the bodybuilders. I learned nutrition from the bodybuilders. I got the best of both worlds. I learned early on, if an exercise didn't work for you, there's absolutely no reason to do it. So like benching is a big thing, right? So people come up to you, how much you bench? And I got to tell you, if I bench pressed 20 times over the 40 years that I've been in this industry, that's a lot. I don't bench because I was taught back in the day If it doesn't mechanically work for you, if you don't feel it, it makes no sense. So I gravitated towards dumbbells. And when you train for a show, it was a camaraderie, a different camaraderie. And we don't see that today because we have health clubs today. We have bigger gyms, 40,000 square foot gyms opposed to a 4,000 square foot gym. And there's a lot of different mindsets in those kind of, so you have different people in a 40,000 square foot gym, different cliques. People won't even talk to each other. I see it where I work, and I see it where I train at a couple different gyms, and there's groups of people who don't even interact with each other, which I find bizarre. Where's the commonality? Where's the brotherhood? It doesn't exist anymore. When you have a 4,000 square foot gym, and like 2 treadmills and a bike, and that's it, you tend to know everybody. And everybody, there was no such thing as a coach back then. No, never. It didn't exist. A guy would train for a show, and any particular night, after a week or two of dieting and every week up moving forward, guys would strip down, pose, and you get some critique, feedback, and you move forward. And that was it. Like, and you got your balls broke. You were told you look like shit, or you were told you look great. And if you couldn't handle it, nobody cared. Suck it up. That's just the way it was. Like, I try to break balls in the gyms I go to sometimes, and guys look at me like, you're an asshole. And I'm like, I'm like, this is bizarre world. It's just different. It's just different. And I'm not being cruel or mean. I'm just trying to rev somebody up or get their juices flowing to train harder. And I don't see that anymore. It's like very rare.
Yeah, absolutely. And the camaraderie of bodybuilding is something that I really love. And speaking of camaraderie, the Arnold Classic this year had, like, on stage was probably the best display of camaraderie. They were all having a good time, tapping each other on the shoulder. The pose down was just phenomenal. And that's where I want to see the sport continue to move to, and build that camaraderie like you're talking about back up. Because bodybuilding, like I say, bodybuilding's forever evolving. And, you know, like the Masters is coming up, and there's always an opportunity to become better and for the sport to develop into something better than it used to be. And I think that we are on the right track this year moving forward, because I feel like shape is coming back. It's no longer going to be who's the bulkiest, you know, the biggest guy, most conditioned field out there. You know, I feel like the beauty of bodybuilding is coming back, versus just like the art versus just who's the biggest, the meanest monster on the stage.
Yeah. Well, you know, every era has a different group of set of guys coming in. And you'll see that, like, with the current guys that are in the Arnold, different physiques. It's apples and oranges. And with the Masters, if you remember when Kevin Levrone made his comeback, he got a lot of slack for his legs being weak. And the powers to be on a lot of podcasts were like, when you're over 40, you lose your legs. Like that was let's be real here. No one's really challenged themselves in their 50s until I'm doing it. But I can't squat 315 anymore the way I used to. So I got to figure out other ways of stimulating my legs. My legs are probably better now than they've ever been. And I don't even squat heavy anymore. And I do things like Bulgarian split squats, single leg presses, things that I never did before. Maybe I'm getting new stimulus, new muscle, because I'm doing things that are new. But it's complete bullshit to believe that because you're over 50, everything goes downhill. It's completely bullshit. And if you believe that, it's only because you're not out there in the trenches trying, you know, because a lot of guys in their 50s are tired to train that way and to eat that way again. It took me a while to break that, you know, well, I should say, to get back into that mindset, because I was like, do I really want to go there again? Do I want to go there? Because it's an ugly place sometimes, because you could be in a zone, you're training, and today's mindset of people in the gym, guys have no problems walking up to me in the middle of a set to give me a fist bump. And I'm like, what are you doing? I'm in the middle of a set. And they're like, you're an asshole. Dude, and I have to explain to them, I'm training. All right, but you can't say hello? I can say hello. Can't you wait to have like common decency to wait until my set is over? So it's like really weird shit going on in the gyms today. So I'm getting off track here, but when you're in your 50s, it's a lot of energy to try to do what you were doing in your 30s. And I just wanted to do this a lot better this time around, and I'm having some decent success. My body's banged up. I'm hurting. I get out of bed. I feel pain. I just had a little thing last week where I found my knee locked up, my left knee, and it swelled up. And I had to go to my orthopedic to find out that during the test that I took, I didn't have an injury. I have a loose body around my knee, and it got jammed under my kneecap, and it was really painful. So make a long story short, it moved. It's out of the way now. I canceled the procedure to have it removed. I don't want any interruptions if I get selected for the Olympia. But my doctor, Dr. Mack at Powerhouse in Saddlebrook, New Jersey, he gave me an exosome shot in my knee. I don't know anything about it. It's all new to me, PRP and exosomes. And so I can't train until Saturday for my legs. Already since Thursday when I had the shot in my knee, he went directly into the joint. It wasn't pretty. It hurt a little bit. I'm about, the swelling is about 95% gone. And I have strength that I didn't realize I was missing in my knee. I'm also bone on bone in my left knee. But, we're crazy. We don't feel pain like the normal person because we're in so much pain all the time from training that my orthopedic said, when I saw it on paper, I said to myself, this guy can't walk up a flight of stairs. And I see it's you and you're in shorts and I see your thighs. What are you doing? I'm like, I'm ignoring the pain. I didn't even really know I was in pain. But now since I had the exosome shot, I didn't realize how much pain I was in, because now I'm walking up my stairs in my house and I'm like, hey, this is feeling really good. So I'm anxious to get back into training. I really not missing any leg workouts. I trained last Wednesday, and just got to be smart about what you're doing,
Absolutely. And I can tell that you're very passionate about this sport. Do you think that you're more passionate today than you were in your younger years when you were on the cover of all those magazines?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I didn't appreciate it. It came way, way easy. I did my work. I did a lot of work to get into those magazines. My mindset was, I don't want to be on a cover of a magazine if I can't back it up with a title. So my mindset was, I'm going to win titles and get in the magazine. So I did both. But my story with getting into magazines is not your typical story. I put a packet together and I wrote to all of the magazines. Anybody's name that was listed in the front of the magazine in the editor section, I wrote to them, sent them to Muscle and Fitness, Flex Magazine, Ironman, Muscular Development, Muscle Mag, Muscle Training Illustrated. I'm going back in the day. And never heard back from any of them. Never. But I looked at it as an investment. And when I won the USA, the Junior USA in 1992, I won the Junior USA. And I got a taste of a photo shoot. Brian Mathis, is that his name? I think that was his name, Brian Mathis. He walked into the gym. I didn't do any photo shoots, but I had won the middleweight class at the Junior USA. It was in California. I thought that was going to happen. Like any other guy or girl who competes, they think that their phone is going to ring. But luckily, I was in California when it happened, and we spent a week out there. and nothing happened. Like nobody was interested in doing a photo shoot. Jason Mathis, that's it. Jason Mathis walked into Gold's Gym. It was, I'll never forget this. It was a Tuesday night. It was close to 9 o'clock, and I was just getting done working out. And it was Gold's Gym, Venice. And he's like, "Hey, you look great still. I'm trying to break into the industry. I have a couple of connections. You want to do a quick 30-minute workout photo shoot?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's do it." From that, I got a little bit of publicity, a little bit of coverage, put together my packet, sent it out all year long from what I was saying earlier. And nobody answered me. Nobody even contacted me. So I go to the USA in 93, back in California. And fortunately, I win the middleweight class. And then the photographers that I was connecting with to do photo shoots over the next couple of days, they were literally like, "You're the guy that's been sending me a packet?" I'm like, "Yeah." And they were impressed by it, but they thought it was crazy at the same time because nobody ever did it. And when I would get back home strong and shapely and train, and the guys were like, "How is this dude getting all this publicity?" But they didn't see the backstory. They didn't see me hustling my ass off, spending probably $1,000 at that time as an investment to get into the magazines. So I always looked at it as, what could I do to get there? And if I can get there, how do I get here? And I just looked at it like that. From the magazines and from having exposure in the magazines, put me in a position to contact promoters, and then they would hire me to guest pose. And that's how it happened.
And like you're talking about, it all comes down to how bad do you want it. And obviously you wanted it pretty bad because you paved the way for yourself. You made it happen regardless of what people telling you no. And then your time came, and your time's going to shine. And I'm excited to see if they select you tomorrow. That's going to be an interesting thing. So. This is going to be my last question for you. Who do you hope to compete alongside of if you get selected for the Mr. Olympia?
Ooh, I haven't thought of that one. Wow. You mean like somebody famous?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, I don't want to stand next to Phil Heath. I'll tell you that. Because I'm Galanti. He's Heath. I'll probably be standing next to him if he enters the show. And I'll look like a child next to him. I wouldn't want that. But, I don't know. I mean, it would be great if like if Kevin Lerone stepped on stage, or if any of those guys step on stage, it'll be this is a great story, 10 years from now. And the same mindset that I went into shows and went ahead and did photo shoots back in the 90s, I'm approaching the Masters Olympia the same way. I've already made contacts in Romania to do seminars and appearances at some gyms and supplement stores. I found a guy who's going to drive me all around. I'm going to get there a week early. I have t-shirts I'm bringing to sell and pictures and 8x10s and all that stuff. And I have a new website. I have my website, which is mastersmuscle.com, and that's getting revamped. It's getting a whole new face look, a facelift, and it's going to be much more advanced in the next few months. So I'm going to Romania with the attitude of, if I get selected, I'm going to go with the attitude of, I have an opportunity to gain a new fan base. It's a bucket list to get on that stage, an Olympia stage. I'm going to be the best version that I could be right now. I'm not trying to beat anyone. I'm not having a mindset trying to be the Masters Olympia champion. I'm going with a fucking amazing posing routine. I already got some stuff already lined up with music. So if all goes well and I peak and everything goes great, I'll give a good presentation and make the Masters category proud,
All right. Well, we're looking forward to it, brother. And the floor is yours. Is there anything, any codes that you would like to plug? What is that Instagram handle that people can follow you at? The floor is yours, sir.
Just Vinny Galanti at it's just Vinny Galanti _. That's it. And my podcast is _Masters Muscle. And that's it. You know, I don't have too much to plug. My sponsor, G Code Nutrition, and Body Bags Clothing Nutrition out of Florida. And that's it.
All right. Well, Vinny, it was a pleasure having you on. We enjoyed the conversation, and I hope that you get selected for the Masters Olympia, because I am looking forward to it. And I wish you all the luck in the future, and I'll be reaching out to you again. So God bless. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you, Jonathan. Appreciate your time.
All right, guys. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, Underdog Bodybuilding out.